we begin here in Nigeria, where the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Olayemi Cardoso, yesterday said that despite the Naira's volatility in recent years, the international community believe the currency is now effectively close to its real rate and currently more competitive. Now, the CBN Governor also said that recent reforms in the nation's foreign exchange segment have continued to attract foreign investors into the economy, vowing that the Monetary Authority will do everything possible to ensure that current inflows continue. And he's speaking at the 2025 Monetary Policy Forum with the theme, Managing the Disinflation Process. Now, in Abuja, the CBN Governor also noted that foreign investors would always be willing to invest in an environment where returns are attractive. Echoing the governor's call for collaboration, the Minister of State for Finance proposed a monthly coordination mechanism between the Ministry of Finance, the CBN, and the Economic Management team. Let's take a listen.
Insights. Managing disinflation amidst persistent shocks requires not only robust policies, but also coordination between fiscal and monetary authorities to anchor expectations and maintain investor confidence. Our focus must remain on price stability, the planned transition to an inflation targeting framework, and strategies to restore purchasing power and ease economic hardship. Inflation targeting is a journey. Not all doesn't happen with a wave of a wand, no matter how potent that wand may be. It's a journey. FX liquidity is improving, fostering greater stability in the market. The Naira is gradually aligning with market fundamentals, creating a more predictable environment for domestic production, exports, and essential imports. While challenges remain, we are confident that our policies are setting Nigeria on the path to sustainable economic stability. Our goal is to ensure that monetary policy remains forward-looking, adaptive, and resilient.
We propose that we can now have a monthly session between the Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank, and of course, maybe with the Economic Management team, to have that coordinating mechanism put in place to do a lot of things, amongst which will include having a single source of truth regarding data and its implications, understanding the policies of the Central Bank and their implications, refining our own fiscal measures to counterbalance and, as appropriate, and provide growth leadership.
I mean, ultimately, this seems and feels like good news for the Nigerian economy, for the Naira, which we know has taken a battering, most especially throughout 2024. So to see the CBN Governor, Olayemi Cardoso, come out and say that this is not all doom and gloom, that in fact, in the opposite of that, there are many reasons to celebrate, many reasons to have optimism when it comes to the Nigerian economy. The Naira, too, it says, has begun to find its feet and strengthen across a basket of other international currencies. And then talking most interestingly to me is at the prospect of international investors coming into the country and about how this Naira is making things a lot more competitive. I do think that when we're looking at targeting our inflation issue, which is definitely staggering, and understanding that according to the reforms, the goals coming out of the presidency in terms of slashing our inflation rate by half, it is definitely going to be it's going to take a substantive amount of effort. But what we're hearing from Doris Anite and also the central bank governor is that Nigeria seems to be well on its way to doing so. What it does need to do now is find ways that we can see how this type of prosperity or this type of optimism will trickle down to the everyday person. And I do think that understanding monetary policy in all its forms, making sure that the layperson can understand actually this world that's happening around them is also very important. And we'll continue to do our best to decipher what is happening so that people on the street can actually understand that these are the good news that is hopefully on the way to Nigeria. What do you think, Rufai?
I mean, so particularly, yes, it's good to have this great sense of good news and all of that, but I disagree with most things that Mr. Cardoso said. I think the CBN has not done well in running the economy. At first, under his leadership, and I'll tell you why. At first, he said there that they had settled most of the FX backlogs. They have not settled the 7 billion FX backlog. In fact, there's still about 2.4 billion they have not settled that. Only 2 days ago, he said he will make plans that settle because they were not verified in. Do you know how much that 2.4 billion cost Manufacturing Association of Nigeria on the FX losses? 1.5 trillion. That's a sizable part of our GDP. Secondly, so maybe when he settles that, we can now start talking. Secondly, they always said that the fair value of the Naira was about 700. Till today, we have not gotten to the fair value of the Naira. It's gone over 1,500, 1,600. At some point, it got up to 1,900.
Around 1,550.
Till the other day, Bismarck Rwanda was saying that even the Naira is overvalued, that it should find its value around 1,000. So where are we as regards this? So his assertion as regards, okay, we have gotten to some veritable place. Where is it? The foreign direct investment that they promised us that was going to come once they devalued the currency because it was going to bring in investment, where is the investment?
Well, he said it's on the way.
On the way. We've been hearing on the way over 20 months. On the way. The president the other day said in his speech that over 25 billion has come in. If that was not exactly the case. So where are we? He's been tightening all this while. Increased interest rates, about 27% now. Businesses are borrowing at over 30%. You've strangulated the business space. February, we're coming to February soon. February is going to make the exactly 1 year started to tighten. Inflation has increased 34.8%. He said we should thank God for his intervention. Inflation will be over 40%. No, in fact, a lot of people feel inflation is over 50%.
Already.
That 34% is just because MBS doesn't put enough things in his basket when he calculates inflation. So where is the economic growth and the pathway? I mean, I don't see it. A lot of the so-called foreign investments that are coming, that are taking possessions in our treasury bills and our bond market, you forget that those monies are not free. That hot money, we have to pay interest rates on it. The other day, the debt management officer said they had a glitch. That's why they couldn't pay interest rates. Interest rate on that goes over $1 trillion. So where are we with the state of the economy? This economy is suffering, Femi. We are flunking.
Dr. Martin, what do you think? Is this a situation about looking at growth and prosperity or progress in real terms as opposed to nominal terms? What do you think the situation should be?
Two events occurred yesterday. You had the CBN Monetary Policy Forum, or what do they call it? Just a forum, organized by the CBN. Then you had also a management retreat organized by the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Now, those two issues are the main issues in focus. At the forum organized by the CBN engaged in a process of chest beating, saying that more foreign direct investors have been attracted to this economy, that inflation could have been over 40%, but that as a result of the measures taken by the central bank, that's why we have inflation now, I think it's above 34%. And the central bank governor, Olayemi Cardoso, engaged in chest beating. The forum was about how to manage disinflation. They are trying to manage the disinflation process. And he says that from what they have done much better than people expect. At that same forum, the Minister of Budget and Planning, that's Minister Bagudu, also made the point that there has been an alignment between monetary side and fiscal side. Now, the thing to say is that we would like to see better alignment in that regard between the monetary side and the fiscal policy side, because the major problem in the economic process framework of Nigeria has been the misalignment between monetary policy and fiscal policy. It is now for the analysts, as it were, to check where that misalignment is and the degree to which both the central bank and the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Budget and Planning have corrected that misalignment. That, I think, is the major issue that we have to worry about. The other issue, beyond this inflation, that Cardoso says that he has been managing very well, is the management retreat of the FIRS, the Federal Inland Revenue Service. The Federal Inland Revenue Service said they were able to meet a budget of over 24 trillion in the year 2024. And that, in fact, non-oil revenue grew exponentially in an economy that is tied to oil proceeds, oil revenue accounting for 80% of revenue. And now they've been given a target for 2025 of over 25 trillion. I think on the surface of it, that should be something that should be applauded by Nigerians. That revenue has increased in the non-oil sector, that efforts have been made to grow revenue without necessarily depending on oil revenue. However, the major issue here, to speak to, who are these people disturbing me? To speak straight to the issue, is that, look, one of the things we have seen since President Tinubu took over is that there has been an improvement in the revenue, even at the subnational levels. So if FIRS is telling us that they have increased revenue by 73.4%, where is the evidence in terms of performance at the subnational level? People who have received more money under this Tinubu administration, the people will only begin to appreciate that achievement, because it's a laudable achievement, when they begin to see at the subnational level that the states that get more money are translating this into benefits for the people. We still have roads across the country that are not properly maintained, that are not properly been structured. We still have issues in terms of poverty in the country. So brilliant, profile report from the CBN, from the Ministry of Budget and National Planning, from FIRS. But what is the effect, the impact on we, the poor people of Nigeria, who are still suffering to even move from one spot in Nigeria from one spot in Lagos to the studio? It is when we begin to see that evidence that we will believe the data coming from all these departments.
Okay. Right. Well, thank you very much for your analysis. So we take another story. Well, banks across the board have complied with the ruling of Justice Deinde Dikpeolu of the Federal High Court in Lagos, lifting the Naira injunction placed on General Hydrocarbons Limited. Now, GHL, as it's also known, including as well as its directors and shareholders. Now, in a statement, the management of GHL confirmed the compliance, saying it was effected in spite of false and misleading statements by First Bank of Nigeria Chairman Femi Otedola and the Managing Director Olusegun Alebioshu, as well as their lawyers, who say that they have resorted to using the press to misinform the public. Now, according to GHL, the falsehood is the latest in a pattern of deceit from First Bank of Nigeria. It described the action as shocking and a disappointment that, quote, a supposedly first-rate financial institution in Nigeria would conscientiously and willfully disobey the law and continue to spread false information at will and without remorse, end quote. Well, GHL also says that this has prompted its filing of cases across borders seeking damages for defamation, libel and breach of contract. It pointed out that the Naira injunction was secured in the first place by First Bank when it suppressed material information and failed to fully disclose a subsisting judgment of the same Federal High Court in Lagos.